Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the GSD show. I'm your host, Mike Arce, and today we are here with Sunil Rajasekar, the President and CTO at MindBody. And today we're going to be talking about how to use software to grow your business. Sunil, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So you've been the CTO at MindBody for how long now? President and CTO for how long?
Yeah, I've been at MindBody for a little over 3 years.
3 years. And
Yes.
what did you do prior to coming over to MindBody? And how did you get there?
Yeah, so prior to MindBody, I was at eBay, and I was the general manager there overseeing product and engineering. I ran the sell side of the marketplace. So everything that sellers need to be successful on eBay. And then prior to that, I was the CTO at a company called Lithium Technologies, which is in the social enterprise space.
Yep.
And before that, I was at Intuit for 9 years. So I've been in Silicon Valley for over 20 years, a variety of tech companies, some startups, some really large companies, and have worked in enterprise software, small business software, and consumer software as well.
20 years of heavy software stuff. I got to ask, what was that first job that you had, whether it was like an intern or low level? Like, what was the first thing that got your hands on the keyboard doing the stuff that the guys that work for you now do?
Yeah, my first job was as a programmer, and this was at a company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I remember going through the interview and getting the job, and then landing in the office. And that's when it hit me that, wow, this is real. And obviously, I was not an expert, I was still green. And I remember taking a big backpack, similar to how I would, go to college, with a lot of books. And it was like how-to books and, programming books. And, you're sitting there trying to get stuff done. And you're getting these books out and learning and then trying to, finish your task. So I remember that. And that was, like early days of the internet. So today you have a question, you go to Google and get the answer. Those were the days where you still had to look up books or call friends. So that's what I remember vividly.
And for those of you that are listening and not watching, he's got about 8,000 books behind him. I thought I had a decent book collection, but you've got a ton back there. And who knows how far that wall goes on either side. So before we dive in, what's been the most impactful book for you as a person, not necessarily as a programmer, but as a person, whether it's professional or personal?
Yeah, great question, Mike. Yeah, so I read a lot, as you can tell, and I read books across a lot of different categories. I read, obviously, business books. I read tech books. I also read a lot of philosophy books. And I've had several books that have had a huge impact on me. But there is one book that I read in the past year, which I would say had a huge impact. And it also captured something that I've been thinking about for a while, which is, how do you be somebody who's a warrior, right? And somebody who's going after big goals and getting things done, while also being somebody who's grounded and is kind and is helpful and is empathetic. And this book that I read called Buddha and the Badass, it was written by a guy called Vishen Lakhiani, who runs Mindvalley. I don't know if that name rings a bell, but I love that title and I love the book, because what it basically says is these aren't mutually exclusive. You can be like Buddha and be somebody who's empathetic and kind, and you can also be a badass when it comes to living in the real world and having goals and getting things done. And the challenge is, how do you do both, right? It's easy to say, hey, I'm just going to go live in the forest, right? And I can be a sage, and you're not interacting with people. Of course, that's easy. Or you could be, in a business environment. It's like, hey, take no prisoners. I'm just going to get stuff done. That's relatively easy as well. But it's like, how do you navigate the real world while still staying true to, some core principles like kindness and empathy? So that book was awesome.
It's called Buddha and the Badass.
Correct.
I got to tell you, normally when I ask that question, I either get a book I've already read or I'm planning to read. I've never heard of this book, but interestingly enough, the problem that it sounds like this book solves is something that I've been wanting to master personally. I've been studying Buddhism for about 4 or 5 months, like actually reading books about Buddhism, listening to really great interviews with the Dalai Lama and listening to his perspective, as well as, videos. of TED Talks where people are explaining like how Buddhism, has helped them or change their beliefs in order to naturally change their behavior. So very cool. I'm excited to read this book because it falls right in line and with what I'm
Great.
currently have my attention on.
Yeah, I've been reading up about Buddhism as well. And the book that I just started is called A Daily Stoic. So it's about Stoicism by Ryan Holiday. And yeah, try to get a lot of different philosophies. And I do think there's a lot of commonality, when you strip it all down and you look at what they're trying to say. And I do think it again ties back to that Buddha and the badass. All of them try to talk about how do you live a life true to yourself, where there are morals and you're still advancing and leading a good human existence.
Yeah.
So we should talk about this in a few months after we read these books.
100%. This is very interesting stuff for me. The little bit that I've started to pick up on is if you help, the idea is to be selfless, right? And to just help others and be there for others, empathetic ear, like you said, compassionate. And by really diving hard into my team, helping them understand what their personal goals are, their professional goals, and then working hard to get them to their goals, I've learned that the reciprocation has been fantastic to where they're also working hard to get the company goals. And so we're working just as hard, but significantly less selfish. And the results are much better. So interesting. Okay. All right. Well, another podcast, another episode. We'll do that at a different time. But in the meantime, using software to help build your business. So, when you think of software versus people, what are some of the intangibles where you're like, okay, well, this is what software can really help with. However, there's still a place for people here. How do you see that working and software playing a role in growing the business?
Yeah, so for fitness businesses, ultimately the most important thing is the service that you're providing, right? The value that you're providing your clients. It's that class, it's that one-on-one coaching that you're doing. That's the core of the business. Software I see as something that can help you focus on your core value by making other things that need to happen more seamless and less time consuming. So things like managing your schedule, things like taking bookings, like marketing, things like finding new clients, even raising capital. So those are all things that software can help with. So and even when it comes to providing these classes, all this one-on-one coaching, software can help with that as well, right? When you're let's say it's a personal trainer, staying in touch with your client, right? Texting. You can't always call them and engage with them or send these long emails. Sometimes you want to text them. You want to set goals using a software and then tracking it using software. So I see it as a key enabler. And you can also extend that to say, hey, it's also an advisor. And as AI ML becomes a bigger and bigger part of our core platform, it can also give you advice. It can guide you. And then it can also help you raise capital, So in some ways, it can also serve as your financier, right? So software can help in a lot of different ways, and those who embrace it, I think, have a huge advantage over others who are not embracing it as much.
Interesting. So, what are some software? You talk about the marketing piece. You said it can really help with marketing. Talk to me a little bit more about that. What are some software advantages that you think are working at a high level to help somebody market their business better?
Yeah. So at MindBody, we have a marketing suite. So this is a product that's part of our overall platform that allows our customers to run marketing campaigns. And you could map out your customer journey and say, hey, these are the key moments that I want to engage with my customers on. Hey, the first class, right? Somebody's come to the class for the first time. That is a key moment of contact, right? You want to make sure that you're following up. You send them an email saying, congratulations on your first class. And hey, it's great to have you. Here's some additional information. That's like one point in time. They take their 10th class. That's another time to reach out and congratulate them and tell them about some other classes that you have. Or they reach their 100th class, or it's their birthday. There are all these key moments where you want to connect with them. And imagine trying to do that all manually, right? Looking up somebody's birthday and, okay, I'm going to call them, and let the software take care of all of that for you. So you can design the customer flow, and there are templates that you can use for what sort of emails you want to send them, or it could be a text, right? So you could do that and make sure that you're building a deep relationship with your customers. So that's one piece of it. There's another piece of it, which is we have a product called Messenger.ai. This is a AI ML powered chatbot through which you can engage with your clients and have AI ML be that initial responder. So if somebody has a question on, hey, when is this class? AI ML can take care of it. You don't have to spend time going and responding to it. If somebody says, hey, I want to buy a package, AIML and can take care of it entirely through chat. You don't even have to get involved. So when you send some of these marketing emails and somebody responds saying, yeah, I'm really happy with the class, I want to take another class, you don't even have to get involved. The chatbot can take care of that for you. So that's another piece where, again, AIML and tech can help. And then there is another piece, Mike, which is the MindBody platform can help our customers get net new clients as well. And I put that under the overall marketing umbrella, because you're marketing to retain the folks that you currently have and also to get net new clients. So we have a marketplace where we have millions of active users, people who are coming there who are looking for wellness services and buying class packs or buying memberships and also booking classes. So we have that, and that's a great place to get discovered for those who are listed there. And then we also recently acquired ClassPass, which is a membership, a direct-to-consumer membership, and it's a great way to get net new clients into your business to fill empty spots that are going to go unused in your classes, and it's a great way to get net new clients as well. So this is the lot that we do there.
Yeah, I remember when I saw that, I was very curious. Obviously, MindBody's they have a history of acquiring quite a few businesses, especially in the software world. With ClassPass, what was the advantage that MindBody was looking to gain by acquiring ClassPass? Like, what was the main motive for it?
Yeah, so we need to step back and look at our reason for existence. Our vision statement is we want to help people lead happier, healthier lives by connecting them to the world of wellness. And how we do that is by helping wellness businesses be more successful, right? So we give them a platform, and our aspiration is to get to a point where, and this is aligned with what I was saying before, these wellness businesses can come with their expertise, with their passion, and then the platform gives them everything else that they need to run their business. Everything from setting up classes, managing staff, processing payments, doing marketing, this intelligent chatbot that I mentioned, and this marketplace. So all of that, we want to package and provide these wellness businesses. ClassPass has been a partner of ours for a very, very long time. And their mission statement is very similar to ours. It was funny. It almost read like the same thing. They use different words, but that's ultimately their vision as well. And we are always looking at, how do we get more capabilities in our platform that will help our customers, these wellness businesses, be more successful. And ClassPass was solving a need which our platform wasn't solving, right? So they have a direct-to-consumer platform. They do a lot of marketing, a lot of really good work on SEO, and they're able to tap into a young demographic, people who are looking to try a lot of new businesses, a lot of new modalities. And that group, they've been able to target and introduce to wellness. And how do we tap into that group and connect our wellness businesses to those clients who are part of ClassPass, these consumers who are part of ClassPass? So as we started discussing, hey, the next phase of the partnership, it just became apparent that it makes sense to bring these companies together, which is why we did it.
Today's episode of the GSD Show is brought to you by Wenning Branding and Text Request. Do you need reliable promotional products and marketing for your business? Look no further than Wenning Branding. With their wide collection of trade show and promotional products and stunning silk screening and embroidery, they'll make sure that your brand will stand out from the crowd. And whether it's storage, direct mail, or online store fulfillment, you can trust that Wenning Branding will keep the process safe, secure, and running smoothly. Here at Loud Rumor, we trust Wenning Branding to handle all of our marketing, fulfillment boxes, and more. So, what are you waiting for? Visit wenningbranding.com/loudrumor today to improve your brand. Are you looking for a business texting service that'll grow your fitness studio? Text Request is the software for you. Trusted by some of the biggest brands in the nation, Text Request provides texting services to help you schedule and book appointments, share promotions to your members, and convert leads to sales to grow your business. Schedule a demo today by going to trytextrequests.com.
So you not only acquired, a technology that you didn't necessarily have, and a user base that you didn't necessarily have, but also a user base within a demographic that you were looking to get a little bit more involved with.
That's exactly right, Mike.
It's pretty cool. How many people do you have underneath you, like personally, that directly report to you, Sunil?
Yeah, I have 9 people reporting to me.
9 people. Okay. And I ask this because, one of the traits of a good leader is one of them is that he's got to be able to be organized so he can still communicate with his team effectively and in a rhythm that allows him to have a good pulse on the things that he's leading and making sure that everybody's not only doing okay personally, but is also professionally going on the right track. No barriers are in their way for them to succeed. What softwares might you use as a leader in order to work with your team, stay connected with your team, whether it's communication tools, whether it's task management, project management? What are you guys using over there? You and your team.
Yeah. So in terms of how we stay connected, how we collaborate, it all changed dramatically because of COVID. Now everyone's working remotely.
Right.
So that's added another layer of complexity. Before that, it was a lot of face-to-face collaboration. With some remote, because we have some folks who have always been remote. So these days, I would say the tool that we use most heavily is the one that we're using right now. It's Zoom.
Yeah.
And we do use Slack internally quite a bit, and it's a messaging tool, and we use that quite a bit as well. And then there are other tools that have gotten introduced, especially during the pandemic. So we have some whiteboarding tools that we use. I see the whiteboard right behind you.
Yep.
There are some electronic whiteboards that the team uses for collaboration as well. And then there are some standard project management tools that we use for tracking our projects. So we use something called Smart Sheets. And then there are some tech-focused planning tools that we use as well. So things like Product Plan. But I think those are more specific for tech teams.
Very cool. What has you and your team's attention right now? What are the Q1 or 2022 projects that you guys have on your mind?
Yeah, so the big thing that's on all of our minds is just getting ready for the rebound, right? And we, when this pandemic started, initially the thought was it's going to be, well, initially it was like, hey, this is going to be a couple of weeks maybe. Right. And then it became maybe a quarter or two. And then, we're still navigating it. But everything that we have seen from a data perspective, also from talking to experts out in the industry, is that this is likely, the last big surge. There's some data and educated opinion behind this. Nobody can tell for certain, but there is a strong belief that this is, the last big surge. It's not that COVID's going to go away entirely, but you also hear about the UK, working on a living with COVID plan, meaning how are we going to get back to as much normalcy as we can? And how are things going to work just going forward in terms of, hey, what happens if somebody gets COVID? All those rules are getting and guidelines are getting revisited. And I think the world is getting ready for, this isn't going to go away entirely, but things are going to get better. A lot of folks are vaxxed. And there was also with Omicron spending as much as it has, I think there's also, a herd immunity that's starting to build. And we're getting ready for turning the corner. So that's the high level. So based on that, some of the things that we are working on is things that we need to help our customers get ready. A lot of and it varies by segment as well, Mike, as you probably well know. Some businesses are seeing, record numbers, right? And it depends on their location, it depends on the modality, and then some are almost there, some are further behind. So it really depends on the area and the business and other factors as well. But we do have strong conviction and hope that hey, we are going to be turning the corner. So that's the high level. So product-wise, we are getting ready to launch, a lot of new capabilities. We've taken the time, with the pandemic, to really focus on what we call internally strengthening the core. So it's taking a look at our core workflows, our core functionality, and modernizing that and streamlining that, making it easier for our customers to use. And we've also added a lot of new capabilities, things like lending. We know that a lot of our customers are small businesses who don't have easy access to capital. So giving them an opportunity to raise capital so they can invest it in buying new equipment or hiring more staff. So those are capabilities that we've added. And then there's a whole list of others, but all of it focused on helping our industry rebound and everything that we can to help our customers accelerate.
That's awesome. Well, Sunil, the good news is, before the show, we were talking about, how to use software to grow the business, that being the main theme. And I mentioned that I actually went to MindBody BOLD and saw one of our clients. She's been a client of ours for about 3-4 years, Hey Jin, speak on how to use software to grow the business. She talked about the messenger .ai that you were talking a lot about. And she said it's amazing. And she really broke down how she uses it. So everybody listening, watching, that's definitely one that I recommend. I was floored by how she used it. We actually ended up having her speak at our conference on the same topic because I was so impressed with it. I was like, you got to do this over for us as well. So that was for, so she did at GSD Con and she did at MindBody BOLD. And there's a really good opportunity. I don't know if you guys talk about it enough, but that's just because you have so many good things going. But I don't know if you talk about it enough because based on how she showed how it's working for her and her company, I was like, man, this has to be like a really big piece of this,
No, for sure. And it's great to hear that she spoke at your conference as well. I'm trying to remember some of the stats that I've seen from her presentation at BOLD. I know the savings when it comes to time that you're not spending responding to texts or answering phone calls, but then there's also additional revenue that you're generating. Because if you think about it, how many people leave messages these days, right? You call somebody, you get the voicemail, you're just going down the next person on the list, right? You're not leaving a voicemail and waiting to hear back. So that's a lot of lost business too. Somebody is new and they're trying to get information or set up an appointment.
Right.
And you're not just sitting by the phone, you've got clients that you're trying to deal with. And that's where messenger.ai comes in. And again, great example of where tech can help you be more efficient and save your time and grow more revenue. So they have a great story of how they use messenger.ai. And to your point, everyone should be thinking about this sort of stuff, right? And how do you save time so you can focus on what really differentiates you, which is that interaction that you're having with your client.
You know what? It's funny. You say, helps her save time. It totally does, but it doesn't only help her save the time she would have spent. It helps her also save the time that she wasn't even going to be able to spend, because you're like, okay, I've got these employees and these employees are going to make these amount of calls or they're going to meet this amount of outreach. So this is how much we would have done with zero software, and software could have done all that. But then it also was able to do more that we wouldn't have been able to do anyway. So not only does it replace what we were going to do, but what we couldn't have ever gotten to. That's what's really magical about getting to get software going. I mean, even with our staff, there's no way our staff can keep up with the amount of emails and messages we send. Even if I had tripled, quadrupled my staff, there's no way I can keep up with it, and not to the quality and consistency and the timing of it all. And so software's, it's better than a replacement of people. It's, but people can never do certain jobs,
That's
stuff.
exactly right. That's a great ad. And it helps you scale.
Yeah.
Like you can't respond to 1,000 emails. You can't respond to 1,000 texts. Let the software do it for you.
Right, right. Awesome. Well, Sunil, I know you're a busy guy. You got at least 3,000 books to read. Again, maybe. So I'll let you get back to your work because you got some good work to do here. And I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for coming on as a guest. For everybody watching and listening, definitely check out MindBody. I know you've heard of them already, the biggest CRM and marketing platform in the space. Sunil is the president and CTO there, and he's graced us with some really good information. So, Sunil, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Mike, thank you so much. Looking forward to talking to you about Buddhism in a couple of months.
I cannot wait, Sunil. All right, you take care. Thanks again.